Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. I've got this Spear and Jackson 2kg axe. It was a fairly cheap one, but so far the quality of Spear and Jackson is reasonable. I wouldn't say it's outstanding. Probably used to be. It's a very old company. I think it was founded over in England many years ago. So I'm not even 100% sure where it's actually made these days. It's got something written on here. No, it doesn't actually say where it's made. I just hope they're not made in China. Anyway, few things we'll talk about. The actual handle length, if I measure it, and I haven't measured it before, it's got a total handle length of 840 millimeters in length, so that's okay. The head weighs about 2 kilo, but with the weight of the handle is 2.8. It's original USA hickory handle, so it says, so that's not too bad. Now, interested enough, if we measure the angle of the wedge, we've got an angle of, look, it's around about 12 degrees, but this beveled angle here, which is not very good, it's not even symmetrical, it's 64 degrees I measured that. So you can see that it's, yeah, and if we turn it over, you can see that the left side has got more bevel on it than the right side. Something that I complain a lot about, you can see that, it's not symmetrical. So, and if you actually look here, you'll find out that it's wider over that side. And if you turn it over, you'll find out the same thing. It gets wider as it goes across. Look, it's just barely sharp. I'm going to profile this. Look, 35 degree bevel or something like that there. I don't like, 65 degree bevel. You will cut softwood with that. Definitely you'll cut softwood, but it's not the type of axe that you'd want to use on hardwood. Australian hardwood, you're better off with a beveled edge of, look, I like 30 degrees, 35 degrees, no more than 40. This is way out, because when I checked it to get an average on here, I had 65 degrees. So a 65 degree bevel is not a very good bevel, and I need to reprofile that so that it gets a beautiful, nice, beautiful angle on it of around 30, 35 degrees. So we'll reprofile that and we'll see how it comes up. Okay, so what we've done is marked out the axe. You can see the red texture on both sides. I'm going to use an angle grinder. Doing this is only good if you've got a lot of experience in it, because if you put an angle grinder to it, two things. You've got to make sure that you're taking the metal off evenly and you don't overheat it, and you'll destroy the temper. So you've got to move pretty fast and don't stay in the one spot, and occasionally stop and just touch it and make sure it's not getting too hot. If it's getting a bit too hot, just let it cool down or use a spray bottle with water. So what we're going to do first, we're going to start to grind down near the bottom and work our way up to the edge, but we're going to keep away from the edge until we put a little bit of a linishing pad on there, about 240 grit. We can bring it up nice and smooth, and hopefully we'll get the bevel. Look, if it's around 30 degrees is ideal, but I'm sort of 35 still's okay. But at 65 degrees at the moment, that is way out. As I said, it will work okay in softwood, not very good in Australian hardwood. So we will do the profiling now. A little bit warm, but that's all it is, a little bit warm. Actually believe that the steel is very good hardened steel, because if it's soft steel, the grinder will just rip it off in no time. So it actually felt like it's got the right hardness. The right hardness that you should be looking for in an axe will be anywhere from about 55 Rockwell to about 57 Rockwell. This feels like about 55 Rockwell. Again, it's ground more at this end than that end. So we'll give it another go, and then we'll put the buffing pad on at 240 grit. So far it's turning out quite well. You just got to take your time and try and get your rhythm right. And as I said, it's still a bit warm now, so just take it nice and easy. Don't let it overheat. Okay, so I've been keeping away from the edge, and that's the most important thing, that you keep away from that edge there, because I can just, when I feather this in with the 240 grit, I'll come close to the edge. But for the moment, no, I don't want to come close to the edge. So what I'll do now, I'll swap over to 240 grit, and then we'll sort of show you what it's like with a 240 grit. Yeah, look, I measured it. I'm just going to cool this down a little bit. And it had 45-degree angle, so I thought, no. I'll give it a little bit more. I want to get this angle down less than 45 degrees. So we'll put another red texture mark there, and we'll grind down to that, and we should be pretty much in the ballpark of around 30-35 degrees. Yeah, just keep it cooled down because you just don't want to overheat that. The steel's beautiful. It's right hardness. Just spend a bit of time with the spray bottle just to make sure that you cooled it down a little bit, because if you don't cool it down, yeah, not a good idea. I still avoided that edge as much as you can. Cool it down a little bit. So we just check, see what we've got. Yeah, look. Probably got about 35 degrees. I think I'll stick with that. Where are we? Maybe closer to 36. I've got to run the buffer pad over it with the emery, so we'll get that down a little bit. So we'll do that next. Okay, so we're ready to do the final finish on it, and we'll get a pretty good sharp edge. This is 120 grit, so what we need to do now, this will smooth it in and we'll get a real beautiful finish. Now, still going to start on the bottom and work my way up to the edge and barely touch the edge. I need to just barely touch the edge because I can finish it off with a oil stone or a whetstone to get that shaving sharp finish. So we'll do that and see how it comes up. I just touched the edge. It's coming up really well. So what I need to do now is switch it over to the other side. It's not even hot. You should be able to see that. It linishes it up really well. Makes it look professional. Because it's a little bit rough when you just use a grinding wheel. So, but when you use this, it really does bring it up well. So we'll finish off. Yeah, it's coming up really beautiful. It's got a great finish. The only thing that I did notice, and I want to give it a little bit more of a shot here, I noticed it wasn't perfect in one little spot there, so I'd like to just give it a little bit more, just to try and get a better finish on it. That feels quite sharp. That's got a beautiful finish on that. Okay, so what I did, I just ran the 240 grit over it, and oh my God, the thing is even sharper. It is a lot sharper, so. I think you can see all the hairs that it just cut off. There they are there. So, yeah, it's mainly on one side. So that's what you can get when we say shaven sharp. You can actually get that sharper. Now, the funny thing is, even if you had a wheel, that was probably 300 grit, but I can't find them. So I put the 240 on, see, P240, and before I had when I was doing the video, that was what I was using. They get wrecked around the edge here, as you can see. As soon as you get near the edge of the axe, you'll destroy the edge of this. And then finish off with a leather strop, with a bit of rubbing compound. If that doesn't work, you can use a water stone or an oil stone, but I prefer the 240 grit. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Okay, so the conclusion. We've taken an axe that we brought from Mitre 10 hardware store with a hickory handle from Spear & Jackson for $45. Which is extremely cheap for an axe from Spear & Jackson. And we reprofiled this so that it's razor sharp, which it is now. It started off at around about 67 degrees on the beveled edge, and we got it down to about 37. So, you know, we're nearly knocked 30 degrees off. What that will mean is that this axe will perform much, much better. It's more uniformed in the bevel, and in hardwood it should work good. The steel hardness is really good because when you grind with an angle grinder, you get to feel that if the metal is softer, it grinds very quickly. And as the metal gets harder and harder, it takes longer to grind. So this took longer to grind, so then I know that the metal hardness is actually quite good. Now, the only other thing that you'll find in an axe is that the cheeks are hollow. So if we're to turn that over, you'll find that you've got hollow cheeks, and you've also got a slight convex on there. You can see that's convex. So that sort of helps a felling axe. To me, convex cheeks and the blade convex don't make a huge deal of difference in a splitting axe, because a splitting axe works totally different than a felling axe. So this is a felling axe. 2 kilos not a bad weight. With the handle, as I said, it's around about 2.8 kilo total weight. So, yeah, it really works good. And I don't know why in the shops that they're not razor sharp. Look, if they had a machined edge on them, as good as this, I'd easily pay an extra $10 just to have it sharpened properly if it was brand new. There are some axes that you do buy, the better brand ones, are sharpened so that they're really sharp, but certainly anything below $100 has generally just got some person on a linear grinder at a factory that's putting a very rough bevel on either side that's not even at the right correct degrees. It should be somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees. I've got this around 36, 37. It's not the ideal perfect edge. I would have preferred a bit more closer to 30, but nonetheless, even between 30 and 40 will give you fantastic good results. But certainly where it was at over 65, around 65 degrees, it will still cut okay in softwood, but certainly won't perform, it won't give you any outstanding performance in hardwood, whereas now it will perform much, much better in hardwood because of the reprofiled. So bear that in mind, that a lot of the softwood overseas, you can get away with these large angles in excess of 40 degrees, but certainly here in Australia, you'll have to put more of a cardio workout to achieve the same results. Certainly when you've got the bevel down around 37 degrees, it's going to perform much, much better. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.